Now, the Texans won the AFC South, and they beat the Colts. I feel really good about both these teams' future. Of course, the Texans got their franchise quarterback, their coach, D'Amico's going to be toe-to-toe with Stefanski, the coach of the year running. But their future, both these teams were last year. Like last year, we're looking at these teams as messes, and they both get their quarterbacks, and the Colts found their coach and quarterback, and I'm really excited to see how Anthony Richardson looks healthy. The Texans with CJ Stroud, they're going to face the Browns in the first round of the playoffs. I don't know if I've seen a turnaround like this in a while. I went back a couple years. The 2017 Rams, after Jared Goff was removed from Jeff Fisher's coaching hell, the Rams made a big time leap. The 2018 Chiefs with Mahomes, and nobody really saw that coming. The 2018 Bears with Trubisky when they traded for Khalil Mack. The 2019 Bills and Titans when they made the playoffs. The 2020 Browns. I had the 2021 Bengals there, and the 2022 Jaguars last year when they went on a run late in the season. I have to put the Lions in what they've done recently as well. But I haven't seen a turnaround like this. I mean, defensive-minded head coach, rookie quarterback, making the playoffs in their first year. This is one of the more impressive turnarounds that I've seen in the last 10 years.
I feel
like...
do think...
sorry, go ahead, Drew.
It's fine.
Okay, who's going to go now? Me?
All right, I'll speak. What's happening here, Joel? No, I'm just fucking.
I got
it.
Go ahead. I do think I look at the Jaguars run from last season. That was the first one that popped up. I know Trev wasn't in his rookie year, but year two, coming off the disastrous rookie season, do bring in Doug Peterson, who, of course, not rookie head coach, but of course, learning a new offense, quarterback, all of that. But what the Texans did, it just goes to show you when you get the head coach right, when you get the quarterback right, just so much else could just fall into place so nicely, right? You get the quarterback and head coach right. All of a sudden, Nico Collins turns into this like bona fide number one receiver. Tank Dell was looking like one of the most electric rookies we had seen this season. Everything felt like it was just falling into place. The offensive line decimated with injuries. The backups were playing well. It felt like whenever you could get that quarterback and head coach right, everything else just falls into place because last season, it felt like there was no hope with Davis Mills. They were bottom 3 in points scored, second fewest yards per game, second most turnovers, dead last in yards per play. 12 months later, this isn't including these week 18 stats from last night, but 14th now in points per game, 10th in yards per game, fewest turnovers, which I think has to be the biggest point here. Just CJ Stroud's ability to protect the ball is something you don't see from rookie quarterbacks. Like, we could talk about yards and touchdowns and highlight plays, and he broke this record. The ability of CJ Stroud to protect the ball is second to none for a rookie quarterback. I mean, that's usually the number one biggest mistake rookie and just young quarterbacks in general, second, third-year quarterbacks make is risky throws, not being able to evade pressure, fumbling the ball, throwing into double coverage. CJ Stroud, it feels so natural to him, his ability to see where either the defense makes adjustments post-snap or pre-snap, being able to see what the defense wants to run and being able to react off of that. And I could just imagine if Tank Dell was healthy for this last month, 6 weeks of the season, what these numbers would look like, because all of these like 10th in points or 10th in yards, 14th in points, 13 in yards per play, like these are probably all top 10 with Tank Dell because he showed that he might be the wide receiver one and not Nico Collins just as a rookie. Then defensively, I want to give them props too, because we talk a lot about CJ Stroud, but last season, this was one of the worst defenses in the league. This year, they're about average, 12th fewest points, 16th in yards. But the fact that they could pair that now with having a franchise quarterback who could make timely plays, who could hit Nico Collins for 75-yard touchdowns on their first possession, who can drop back 15 yards with 3 guys in his face and be able to pick up first downs. The shit he could do is special, man. But it really goes to show, again, CJ Stroud is one of those guys that I was even a bit lower on coming into the NFL. I had Bryce as my quarterback one. I really did not think CJ Stroud, number one, be this good. But the more impressive thing was that the weapons around him, the fact that he's able to elevate all of these guys. Like if he was coming into a situation where he had bona fide number one superstar wide receiver and, one of the best running backs in football and a proven head coach, offensive coordinator, they're all figuring this shit out together. Over half of his games, he's had over 100 quarterback rating. Like almost every step of the way, he's passed with flying colors. And then last night, I feel like that 75-yard touchdown, Nico Collins on that opening possession kind of just all in one, what this season has been. Just something you're not expecting right out the gate. CJ Stroud, perfect ball. Nico Collins, breakout year, has over 1,100 yards or whatever he ends up finishing with. It's a special year for Houston. 1,300, goddamn. Special year for Houston. First playoff berth since 2019. It feels like a lifetime ago. Deshaun Watson was there, and he looked like the franchise quarterback. Now you got CJ Stroud, who probably will end up being better than him.
This guy's just going to make hand gestures
Riff,
and not talk.
I mean, my God.
Drew wanted to go next. I was just excited that he said that.
It's all right. Go ahead.
Oh, okay. You wanted to go. You guys were having a little footsies about who would go first.
The order of who's talking and who's not is all over the place this episode. We got to come up with like the proper order. Go left to right, right to left, left down.
We'll get the order back.
If you're going like this, hands in the air. I'm just like, all right.
Nah, because I'm just, like when you just watch your twin brother just play well and you just watch him just be excellent, it just creates a warming heart, like a warming feeling inside. Like I feel great, and you mentioned the offense, CJ, Tank, Nico Collins, they trying to figure it out. The addition of Dalton Schultz, he's been great this year. Then you talk about the defense, Blake, Jonathan Greenwood, Will Anderson, Jimmy Ward, Jalen Stingley, like Steven Nelson. Like this defense isn't expensive and they're solid, and I think on both, like this team, we counted them out for sure. In the offseason, we didn't think CJ would come in and be this great. We didn't think they'd make this insane leap, but they go from week one. They started off 0-2 to winning the division. I think that's something that you got to be excited about. And CJ Stroud was getting top 10 talks all season. This is a team that's going to be around for a long, long time, and they're going to be a great team because they're young. They play together. And like you mentioned, CJ never looks rushed. He never looks like he's panicking. He always looks poised. He always looks like he knows what's going on. He like Josh Allen's in years 6 and 7. He still struggles with turnovers. And CJ Stroud looks like he's never struggled a day in his life with turnovers. He manages to keep the ball in his possession at all times. So, shout out to the Texans and what they've done. Drafted well, brought in their quarterback. They got the coach. Ryan and CJ Stroud are going to be great for years to come.
Best turnaround. I still would give that to the Jaguars. They had arguably the worst coaching situation in NFL history with Urban Meyer, back-to-back years of the number 1 overall draft pick. And then they go and they win the division and they win a playoff game. What the Houston Texans are doing this season has been nothing short of fantastic. They had a 4% chance to win the division at one point in time. After they lost that game to the Jaguars in either week 12 or week 13, it was almost a foregone conclusion. It was the Jacksonville Jaguars division to lose or to win, excuse me. And then for some way, somehow, the Texans were able to get this done. Credit goes to CJ Stroud. Credit goes to DeMeco Ryans, absolutely. But I'd be remiss if I didn't at least acknowledge Nico Collins, if I didn't acknowledge Dalton Schultz. That was a great addition for them. Riv, you mentioned the defense. The secondary has been awesome. You mentioned Petrie. You mentioned Stingley. They've been balling out, no doubt about it. Sheldon Rankins has been great. The move that I give a lot of credit to them more than I have in the past, because I was vocal on this. I wasn't a huge fan of the move with Arizona to go and trade up to number 3. Because I never anticipated the Houston Texans would be here today, your division champions, the year after being the number 2 overall draft pick or having the number 2 overall draft pick. I assumed that the Cardinals would be in a position today to get a great draft pick off of the Houston Texans. Little did I know that CJ Stroud in year 1 would be in top 10 conversations and DeMeco Ryans would be top 2 favorites to win coach of the year. Never in my right mind did I see that coming. And it's a testament to these guys and just the team chemistry that they have going on right now. But Will Anderson, the move to make Will Anderson, to him to be arguably the most impactful defender in this rookie class, it is a testament to what is going on over there in Houston. The GM has made a lot of great decisions. I questioned that one. I definitely didn't feel like I was the only one that questioned it. Nevertheless, Will Anderson was a home run for them. They have their future really lined up with just their recent first-round picks at the defensive positions, Will Anderson and Derek Stingley, who's an awesome young corner in this league. You got to love the future for the Houston Texans. Definitely a fun matchup between the Browns and the Texans, a matchup that we saw a little bit a few weeks ago, but that was, of course, without a CJ Stroud. Now we get to see these two teams at full strength. It'll be an awesome matchup. But, of course, nothing but credit to the Houston Texans, who answered a lot of naysayers.
This is just what happens when you get the quarterback right. And I've been waiting on the Jets to get the quarterback right for as long as I've been
It
alive.
should have been us, man.
It should have been
Number
us.
2
You know,
pick,
Robert
Niners
Saleh
coaches.
turned around our defense. You know, he did turn around our defense, but we didn't have the quarterback, so we weren't able to take that leap because we got everything outside of the quarterback. So it just speaks to, again, that I wasn't too mad at the trade up because they drafted a position that's of value. If they
sure.
traded up and drafted a tight end or something, then it's like, oh yeah, that's terrible. But if it's an edge rusher and he's one of the better ones, then you feel really fine about that trade up. CJ has been amazing this year. He finishes the season with a 100 passer rating for the year. You know, he's in rare company among rookie quarterback seasons. There haven't been much better than him. You can put him with Justin Herbert's rookie year, Andrew Luck's rookie year, Dak Prescott, Russell Wilson, RG3. That's the company that CJ Stroud has now put himself in. This Texans defense is just really good all around, though. I think their defense, I love the way that Riv rattled off a bunch of last name and first name combos. I was very aware of who he was talking about.
You're foul for
Jonathan
bringing that up.
Greenard.
Once he said Jalen, I knew he was talking about Jalen Petrie.
Couldn't
He
say
said
his last
Stingley.
name.
I knew he wasn't saying Jalen Stingley. I knew
No, I
where your head was at.
I couldn't say
knew where your
Jalen's
head was
last
at.
name. Didn't want to fuck it up, so I was just like Jalen. I think you
respect
know
it.
ball. You know who I'm talking about.
Nah, you
Once
were cooking.
Once he said Blake, I was like, that's got to be Blake Cashman. That's a New York Jet legend. So I knew all the people he was talking about, and I like that he mentioned all those guys. The Browns matchup is going to be fun because it's kind of two teams, one that kind of tried to trade their way into contention and one that built their way to contention. The Texans have built this team through the draft, and the Browns went out and they traded for Deshaun Watson, who isn't even going to play in this matchup. And since he's gone to Cleveland, he hasn't been good for them. But you know, CJ has been amazing, and I want to acknowledge that. I do think that these receivers on a team, specifically Nico Collins, deserves a lot of respect because I know that people will point to his seasons without CJ and say CJ made him as a receiver. Reception Perception, which is a website run by Matt Harmon, he studies and analyzes wide receivers every snap and how they win versus man and zone. Nico Collins has been a darling of their website for a while on somebody who can break out, but previous coaching staffs have not used him correctly. So now with the Texans and under Bobby Slowick, he's been used correctly, and now we see him have a breakout year, and it's not hard to see. You know, he runs Chris Sprouts. He's 6'4", he's fast, he's physical. He's a very tough cover, and he's going to be a matchup nightmare against those Browns corners. But yeah, you know, of course, we have to point to CJ being a major guy in this because he's the quarterback. He makes everything go, and he has been jaw-dropping just watching him play and the skill set he possesses. But I think these receivers deserve their respect, and specifically Nico. You know, Dalton with Dak was not a scrub either, and Tank Dell was having an amazing rookie year before he got hurt. Their future is really bright.
So I'll ask the question: who's rookie of the year? CJ Stroud or Puka Nacua?
I think I'd rather a gun to the head.
Because they made the playoffs and they won the division, I would give it to CJ Stroud. I think that provides a little bit more value. That's a little bit more important as opposed to, you know, Puka played great. He broke a record. Nobody's denying that. Matthew Stafford is probably a top 10 quarterback in the league this year. You know, the Rams defense is not terrible. They've definitely been playing good as of late. And offensively, you also still have Cooper Kupp, which you have to respect on the other side. So with CJ plus in the AFC, I don't hate if you give it to Puka, but I would give it to CJ.
This is tough for the idea that it's the quarterback that always gets the love in the National Football League. And I understand that. If I'm not mistaken, even when Jettis had his unbelievable season, they still gave the award to Justin Herbert. So for that idea where Puka Nacua was historic, he broke the receptions record, he broke the yards record. This is one of the best. Forget about that. This is the best rookie season a wide receiver has ever had. And even still, with that being said, I understand it's a quarterback award, and I would love to see Puka Nacua take home some hardware. But at the same time, CJ Stroud, like Riv said, won his division in year one, was historic. If he doesn't miss those couple of games, probably breaks the record for most yards by a rookie. His touchdown to interception ratio, if I'm not mistaken, is still number 1 in the National Football League. What is there to say? He had a near perfect rookie season. That's it. It's unfortunate where Puka was historic in his own right, but when you're the quarterback, you just get a little bit extra push.
For a long time, I was going with CJ Stroud in this conversation, but him getting injured and then before he got hurt, he played bad against the Jets. I'm going to go with Puka. CJ had an excellent rookie year, but Puka had the best rookie wide receiver season in history. We saw Jamar do it 2 years ago, and Puka is number 1 in receptions for a rookie. He's number 1 in yards for a rookie. The only thing that's holding him back from the triple crown of rookie wide receivers is the touchdown passes. But he quite literally, you can put him up with any rookie wide receiver in NFL history, and his numbers are just as good, if not better than them. Where CJ Stroud had a tremendous rookie year, I still think we can point to other rookie quarterback seasons that have been better. For example, Dak in 2016. We seen rookie quarterbacks have better years. Puka just had the best one. So that's why I'm going to give it to Puka.
It's so tough because neither of them were expected. CJ Stroud was drafted number 2 overall. Maybe he was contention-wise, like odds on, but the success the team has had wasn't expected. Puka being a 5th-round pick, no, this guy wasn't on the radar. Like, this was a guy like maybe he could make the team as like a wide receiver for his rookie season and work his way up. But the fact CJ Stroud is getting the Houston Texans into the playoffs after the abysmal season they had last year where it felt like there was no hope, he turned around the franchise. Like, I don't think that's an overreaction to say. CJ Stroud turned around the franchise for the Houston Texans. Puka Nacua elevated the franchise for the Los Angeles Rams. So for that reason, I would side with CJ Stroud.
The best receiver on his team. Keep trying to tell you, man. Puka, man.
You know, we can't forget about the reason why the Texans are in this position in the first place. Case Keenum winning against the Titans when CJ was out. They came back in that game down 13-0 and made a comeback. Mr. Case Keenum.